feel love, and I ain't got no
I got the fire flow. Shorty getting down, going up the fire pole. Radical, intermittent where we mad cold. I got the bullfrog flow, you a tadpole.
Welcome to someone's favorite movie podcast. We're coming to you from the Pod Shack outside beautiful Flint, Michigan, USA. My name is Randy, and with me is a very, very, very special guest. My special co-host for tonight, TRB.
That's right. Back on the channel, I guess. I mean, it's not the same show, but it still counts, right? This is what, 6, 7, 18? I don't know.
I mean, you've been on the Miserable Retail Slave show from where I hail, about 8 times, I think, maybe 9. That's a record that never be broken because nobody wants to be on that thing. So,
I mean, I might have your co-host beat.
It's possible. I mean, you're right there. You're the old standby, I guess. And here you are again.
I'm the in case of emergency break glass, and here comes the bastard.
Exactly. The bastard has been broken free from the glass case tonight. And boy, is he happy he was sprung free from his cage.
Yes, I am very happy to be awakened from my hiatus. However, I have to say, based on the topic we're going to be covering tonight, or the movie rather, I hate you.
I mean, is that something you say to such a great pal such as me? I mean, we haven't spoken in quite a long time, and to come at me with such bile and rage, that's really mean of you, sir. My feels are hurt.
I mean, I thought great friends could do that.
Okay, you're taking the piss out of me, I see. Okay. Now I'm back on board.
I don't want you to start off sour, like the first 10 minutes of our film discussion tonight.
Yeah, wow. So tonight, folks, we're covering the primetime special that caused fathers all across America to slap their sons upside the head and say, "You're watching this crap?"
There were many a welt dealt out that night. I guarantee it.
It's a Star Wars holiday special.
Oy.
Oy vey. Just think, Ranty, you're 3 years between movies. You're desperately waiting for the Empire Strike Back. You're ravenous for more Star Wars content. And you're engaging with all these debates with your friends. And you hear that there's going to be a Star Wars holiday special. And you count down those days to spend time with your favorite characters again. And then this is what you get, a massive load of bantha fodder.
Yeah, and I mean, the hours that were spent pre-adjusting those rabbit ears and, turning that fine-tuning knob on the VHF or UHF, whichever one it came in on, just to make sure the picture was crystal clear so that you could see Han and Chewie and Luke and 3PO. And then all that work for nothing.
For nothing. You might as well have let the static go. Just let it take over your TV. Consume it. Staring at one of those fuzzy snowflake patterns on the screen probably would have been better than what you got. Sorry.
And it's funny because I checked IMDb. This does have a 2.1 rating, and the static channel is a 3.4.
See? I mean, this might have been early evidence that George Lucas wasn't quite the genius we all thought he was after Star Wars. I think the genesis of Jar Jar Binks can be traced back to this very special. Like, this should have told you that your creator of the thing you love so much also has some dumb ideas in his head.
It did, but if I remember correctly, he's actually not even credited as a producer on this.
Yeah, because it was so bad he had his name taken off the credits.
Yeah. Yeah. John Williams probably wants his name taken off of it too.
I can imagine, yeah.
Written by nobody named George Lucas, directed by nobody named George Lucas, and starring a bunch of resentful people whose names we all know from Star Wars lore.
Exactly.
Including B. Arthur.
Including B. Arthur. It was a special that was so bad it only aired one time, November 17th, 1978, which is the same day you'll be hearing this. I mean, not in 1978, unless you're some sort of Nostradamus, man, and you can see into the future. And if you've got those powers, why are you listening to this podcast instead of, like, I don't know, saving the world or something? But we're going to drop this episode on November 17th.
41 years into the future. It's still never been aired again.
It's never been aired again. It was so bad that even toy manufacturers Kenner, who were so excited to have the chance to market a new product in the form of Chewbacca's family, pulled the plug on the idea if the special was broadcast.
You know, and let me just say right off the bat, Chewbacca's family, by far my least favorite thing. I mean, I was down with Jefferson's Starship, but Itchy and Mala and Lumpy, no.
No, thank you.
Just no. Never again, please. I mean, when that scene shows up and they think it's Chewie because they heard the Falcon and there's a knock on the door, and they're all excited. Oh, he's home, he's home. They open up the door and it's two stormtroopers. I just thought, go ahead, shoot them.
End it now.
Yes.
Like, I don't get it. Why were the stormtroopers showing restraint in the first place? Like, they're the bad guys. What do they care?
Yeah, really. I mean, and they're there to do a search and all this. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it was based on policing back in the 70s, but that was probably the most poorly executed search I've ever seen.
Right.
And I watch a lot of live PD.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't mind watching a live PD spinoff of Star Wars. That would be fun, I think.
I mean, yeah. I mean, that would be it'd be much better received than this.
Yeah, I bet so.
I mean, I could certainly watch Stormtroopers. You know, I got a 1047 at 1320 Glenside Road. You know, but you know, you're not worried about the Stormtroopers coming in and, you know, shooting you because they're gonna miss.
They are gonna miss. They're not good shots with those little laser rifles they got there.
Which, by the way, kids, if you need a multi-million-dollar idea, targeting system goes in the helmet.
Yeah, or even a scope on the rifle, because those sons of bitches needs all the help they can get.
I mean, there's firing properly, there's firing from the hip, but I swear it's like they just stick it in their abdominals, start laughing, and pull the trigger.
And that's how you do it, I guess. That's a pose that all action movies take. Somewhere in your rib cage, you stick that gun, and you just fire away, and somehow you're supposed to aim accurately that way. I don't think it works like that.
Nope. You know, plenty of even paintballers put them in the shoulder like you're supposed to. I mean, come on,
stormtroopers, get with it.
Jeez.
The Star Wars Holiday Special was seen by 13 million households, which really is an insane amount of people to disappoint all at once.
And that's also, again, in the 70s, when 13 million households was a large percentage of the population. And you have to figure, too, it's not like this day and age where there's, 3, 4, 5 TVs in a home. There was one gigantic box that somehow had a 19-inch screen inside of it. I mean, you could just imagine the whole family gathered around in the living room, the kids laying on the floor, their chin on their hand. They're just, oh, look, there's Chewie. And then after the first commercial break, they're going, is there a Celtics game on?
Right.
Can we watch something else? Probably. I would also say that this show more than likely led to the invention of the remote control just so they could escape it faster.
When exactly was the first remote control invented? It was probably November 18th, 1978. You're right. I mean...
Yeah. There was somebody already taking apart their toaster by the time Diane Carroll started singing.
Exactly. Yeah, it had to have been rough for a bunch of 13-year-old sci-fi nerds sitting there watching that TV. The whole family gathered around, and then that happened on the screen, and then their parents start actively judging them. And boy, they probably weren't allowed to see any more science fiction on that movie screen anymore.
Nope. It was, hey, we're going to watch sports or whatever game show was hot, I guess. I mean, that was probably what, the beginning of Jeopardy?
Like I said, it was only showed one time, which is amazing. And it's never been released on DVD or Blu-ray or any streaming service. Anthony Daniels, who played C-3PO, told Empire Magazine, "Most things are buried 6 feet under. The holiday special is buried 20 miles under. If Lucasfilm had deep down wit, they would go, okay, here's a special edition of the holiday special. Instead of making a skeleton in the cupboard everyone's ashamed of, why not go, okay, we blew it this time. Why don't we just see how badly we blew it?"
Yeah, I mean, it did make it to VHS. I did read that there's apparently a lot of Star Wars clubs across the country, and they get together and actually watch this. And I mean, if that's one way you want me to never come to your party again, I mean, that's a pretty solid, yeah, you know what? I'm busy that day.
Yeah. It was bootlegged, and copies were making the round at Comic-Cons and tape trading networks. So the legend continues to live. And if not for that, it would not ever have been uploaded to the internet. So it may live forever, despite George Lucas's best efforts.
Oh, his best efforts and his vehement wishes that it never be shown again, ever.
Ever. This is why, folks, you have to hold on to your physical copies. I mean, I know that streaming is all the rage right now, but so Fox was bought by Disney now, and Disney is no longer letting Fox movies be shown in repertory theaters anymore. They're pulling them. And I've heard rumors that they're planning on pulling all the Fox DVDs off the market too, which means if you're a fan of The Predator, you better buy a copy of The Predator, or you can only watch it on streaming until it's available until they decide to yank it from streaming. So, I mean, physical copies are important.
They are. And actually, I was just curious because you mentioned it actually has made it all the way to Blu-ray.
Really?
Yeah, you can pick this baby up right now on eBay for $26.
Oh, that's got to be something that somebody burnt.
I would think so.
Yeah.
Let's see where it's coming from. Oh, Thunderdome. Yep.
Yes, exactly.
Yep, you nailed it.
Yep.
Seller's name is Stinky Tuna. So yeah. Let's not necessarily say that's a reputable place to go pick up a copy.
Lucas said about the thing, "It was my first experience of television. It just kept getting reworked and reworked, moving away into this bizarre land. They were trying to make one kind of thing, and I was trying to make another, and it ended up being a weird hybrid between the two. I'm not sure either position would have worked on its own, but by combining them..." That's all he said. And then he passed out from the stupidity.
Frustration.
Yeah.
What the fuck did they do? Gone. And see, at that point, that's when he hit his head. And when he came around, he said, "All right, I have to atone for this," and gave us Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah, exactly. So the idea behind this, according to Charles Lippincott, who was in charge of marketing at the time for Lucasfilm, CBS approached him and later Lucas with a bunch of ideas for Star Wars to put it on TV in order to help continue to promote Star Wars and also keep the characters in the public consciousness until The Empire Strikes Back was ready for the theaters. Good idea. I mean, you don't have... In theory, you don't have internets and blogs and all that sort of things. The world was a lot different. Things could disappear for a little bit, and you wouldn't see or hear from them. It was real easy to ignore things back then. Bruce Vilanch was tasked to be one of the head writers of the thing. Bruce Vilanch is a comedy writer, so why he would write a Star Wars thing, I don't know, but he was. when Valanche heard Lucas's storyline that he came up with at a development meeting at in L.A., he realized a big challenge lay ahead of him because Lucas was intent on building the Star Wars Holiday Special, as it would be called, around Wookiees, specifically the family of Chewbacca, as they outwitted Imperial forces to come together on Life Day, the Wookiee equivalent of Christmas. Suddenly, Valanche said the special was in danger of looking like, quote, one long episode of Lassie.
Oh, and so with the advent of Disney Plus, which gave us The Mandalorian,
Yes.
and only gave us one episode so far.
Yes.
As of this recording, by the time the 17th hits, I think we'll be at 2.
We will be at 2.
Did you catch the reference?
I did. There's a reference to Life Day in The Mandalorian, which is amazing.
Yes, and I also caught the reference to Jabba the Hutt, which I found kind of funny. His little, oh my God, his little bat thing without wings on a rotisserie.
Salicious Crumb is his name. Yeah,
Yes,
he was roasting on a spit. Yeah, I noticed that too, and I laughed. I laughed so hard.
Yeah, and there's like another one in a cage, and it's just cooing.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, wait a minute, that thing was going, and now it's like, don't fry me.
Yeah.
Please.
Well, there's a reason that the Life Day was referenced in The Mandalorian, because director Jon Favreau loves the holiday special. He said, I love the holiday special, certain sequences more than others. That's my generation. I love the introduction of Boba Fett and that rifle that he had. That animated piece still holds up. It's pretty cool. I draw inspiration from that. He then playfully suggested that he needed to go pitch the idea of a brand new holiday special for Disney Plus. I mean, why not? Why not give it a go?
If you need to tank your career, that's one way.
Yeah.
You know? But that whole Life Day, the actual Life Day event at the end, just what?
Yeah, right. Also, if you notice, the Mandalorian in The Mandalorian, his weapon looks a lot like Boba Fett's in that cartoon. The claw thing that he carries. It
does.
Yeah,
it does. And I have to admit, that's the only thing it gave us.
Yeah, pretty much.
It gave us Boba Fett, which is great. The animated portion of it was by far the best part, if there can be a best part.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then of course, being Boba Fett introduced the way he is. Oh yeah, I'll help you. Hey, Vader, I got this guy. You see the backstabbing nature of a bounty hunter, and then of course now it plays forward into The Mandalorian. But I by far that is the best and really only thing that this special gave us, other than discourse about how truly horrible it was.
Exactly. There was a review by Jerry Buck at the time. He wrote it for, it was a syndicated column. He said that the holiday special, he said, is it an exploitation of the biggest grossing movie of all time? You bet, but relax and enjoy it. It's bubblegum for the brain. And I was thinking, it's more of like a cyanide capsule hidden in a fake tooth. That's more like what it is. It's not bubblegum for the brain.
It's, it's somebody handing you a glass of what looks like water only to find out it's Clorox.
Exactly. All right, let's get into the thing, shall we?
Yes.
Okay, it starts off with Han and Chewie and the Millennium Falcon, and you're like, oh, we're off to a good start. This is great. You got recognizable characters. It looks like they're filmed using traditional TV film at the time, though it kind of looks a little sitcomish, but it's okay. It's recognizable characters in the Millennium Falcon. There's a space chase. It even starts with a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. But you're in trouble when all of a sudden there's an announcer that announces the Star Wars Holiday Special, and then riffs off the entire cast. Like, stop. That's not the Star Wars I need to see.
No, that is certainly not the Mark Hamill that any of us knew.
Oh my gosh, what is up? I couldn't figure out what was wrong with him.
He's way too happy.
He's so happy to be doing this. Like, it even looked like Luke Skywalker. I mean, I know it was Mark Hamill, and just so, I guess he was constantly smiling. Like, did he ever smile in any of the Star Wars trilogy at all? Ever?
No.
know,
I mean,
it
it
was
was like
crazy.
watching a Lego character of Luke.
It was insane. I just couldn't put my finger on why he looked so weird, and maybe that's why, because he was smiling the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, you start off with A New Hope, and his aunt and uncle are slaughtered.
Right. Yeah. So
You
there's
know?
not much to smile about right off the bat.
Right. Empire, you find out the baddest dude in the universe is your dad, and he cuts your hand off. Nothing to smile about.
Not good.
And quite frankly, the only time he did have any kind of joy or happiness was, after he burned his father.
Right. Yeah.
And then he went and hung out with his sister and his friend and a Wookiee.
And then they celebrated. Like,
Yeah.
have some fucking compassion. Dude's dad just died. Like,
Yeah.
oh.
But, then you show up in the holiday special and it's, oh, why, hello there, Mala. How are you?
Right.
Gosh, your hair looks nice today. Jesus Christ. Stop. Just stop.
That was a spot-on impression, too. I mean, what's really amazing is that they were able to get the entire cast back to do this thing, even for small amounts of screen time. I'm impressed that they all agreed to do it.
I guarantee you those small amounts of screen time were compensated with large amounts of American money.
I hope so. They deserve it for this.
Yeah, I mean, if we were to forward to the end and Leia singing, I mean, maybe a little money should have been given back, but
Right.
we don't want to skip ahead.
The other thing I found interesting was the special was sponsored by GM, which is also not what I want my Star Wars thing to be sponsored by. Like, why? What is this? It just reeks of corporate, like, desperation or something.
Yeah, and what was the tagline in that? People making transportation for people?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
I'm just, maybe we make people, cars, or we make transportation for people. You don't have to use people twice in there.
Yeah, you don't. So the special proper begins, and we see Chewbacca's family.
Mm-hmm.
And just the most annoying white noise begins for an excruciating amount of time. It would be like having a Charlie Brown special and writing it so that the first 5 minutes of the cartoon are the adults talking the whole time, just wah, 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 wah.
I think that was actually part of the dialogue.
It probably was. Bruce Valanche said, "You've chosen to build a story around these characters who don't speak. The only sound they make is like fat people having an orgasm." In fact, I told Lucas he could just leave a tape recorder in my bedroom and I'd be happy to do all the looping and Foley work for him.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking again, late 70s, but subtitles were a thing. Why couldn't we get some? I mean, we're paying for Harrison Ford and Mark Hamill. I mean, big names coming off incredibly successful movies. Did we use all the money on the payroll and we couldn't get a subtitle to understand what the hell is going on?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make it. It would have been a lot better. Well, I'm not gonna go out on that.
Stretching that out too far.
I mean, it would have been a little bit better with some dialogue, so you knew what the fuck was going on. So after about 7 straight minutes of zero dialogue, other than roars and groans, you get Itchy, who is Chewbacca's father, and his costume is just so incredibly offensive to the eyes. I don't know who signed off on this.
It literally looks like dog shit that has dried.
Yeah, he's got this huge underbite, and it's just so stupid. Like,
and when he poses for and introducing Itchy, and he kind of turns his head and smiles, you're like, what?
Yeah.
What the hell was that?
Yeah. So Itchy pops in some sort of cassette into this machine so that Lumpy, who is Chewbacca's son, and yes, George Lucas did name all these characters. Don't worry about that. He did.
Yeah.
Lumpy can view these holograms of dancing or acrobatic aliens. And it's not entertaining whatsoever. I don't know what the... And Lumpy in the scene is like leering over these dancing acrobatic aliens. And he's just creepy as hell. And I don't know how he doesn't give nightmares to children at the time, because like just the cheap costume and the weird, exaggerated, non-dialogue driven moments. He reminded me of like some sort of kaiju in a Godzilla movie. He kind of looked like King Kong in the King Kong versus Godzilla movie, the original. Yeah. Just the way I don't know, something about the mask wasn't right. Like, I don't understand how you get Chewbacca just perfect, and then you completely drop the ball on the rest of the family there.
Yeah, I mean, and I think it was the plastic to the face around the eyes and the mouth. You know, you look at Chewbacca and it's all fur. It's very, I don't know, I guess natural looking. And then you look at Itchy and you're just like, it's a dude in a mask.
Right.
What the fuck? Did we just not try?
Yeah, that's exactly, this is not what people wanted when they envisioned the Star Wars holiday special. They wanted fights with Darth Vader. They wanted high-speed chases in space. They wanted lightsaber battles. They don't care about Chewbacca's... Nobody cared about Chewbacca's domesticated life. Nobody even thought Chewbacca had a domesticated life. Nobody wanted him to.
No, they didn't. And the other thing that bothered me about him is, you know, you've got Lumpy, the little guy, and he's running around with an X-wing and he's playing, but you know,
and making the most annoying sound imaginable.
And then you've got Itchy, the older, wiser of the bunch, doing the exact same thing across the room.
Right? Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, here, take this child's toy and go over there, and I'm gonna play with this one over here. Just don't bother me. I mean, again, whoever wrote that whole intro, you know, if that had maybe been later on, and you found out, you know, what Life Day was and why it was so important, you know, and how you could call this a Christmas special or holiday special.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. But seriously, to introduce it, I can guarantee you those 13 million viewers pretty quickly dropped off to about 14,000.
Yeah, I would say you're about right. I do think you're right. I think there is a way to do this and like keep the variety show aspect of it and do it well, but it just didn't happen. Just didn't happen at all.
No, and you know, you bring a good point too with the variety show, because that's really what it was. And I didn't think of it that way, but then, you know, obviously that was a huge thing back then. So yeah, I see where they tried to go with that aspect of it, but again, it was just so fucking badly done.
Yeah. So the family is milling about, and Mala, Chewbacca's wife, is very upset because Chewbacca is late coming home for Life Day, which is a non-offensive way to say he's late for Christmas. I don't really hate that choice. It's a way to include everybody, I guess. Life Day could be everybody, whatever.
That should be the tagline. The Star Wars Holiday Special. We were PC before there was PC.
We don't want to offend anybody. Give us your money.
Exactly. Brought to you by GM, people making transportation for people.
Fortunately, Mala has a hidden video phone in her cabinet that looks suspiciously like a microwave, and it seems to be dialed in on Luke Skywalker at all times, because she opens up the thing and it's staring right at Luke Skywalker. And
she's a peeping mom.
She is a peeping mom. And so Mala roars at him, and Mark Hamill,
hey, Mala, how are you?
Yeah. And he says something that cracked me up. He says, I know Chewbacca, and he hasn't missed a Life Day yet, has he? And I'm like, didn't you just meet him? Like, how much time has actually passed between A New Hope and the holiday special? You know,
yeah, I mean,
how many Life Days has passed? You're making a lot of assumptions, Luke.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, I know exactly what you're saying, but the audience at home, Yeah, they have no clue.
They ain't got a clue. Yeah, because Life Day is never really explained whatsoever.
No, not even when you see it.
No, you still don't know what's happening. So Luke flirts with Mala a little bit to get her to smile, and then gets pissed off at R2D2 for ruining his engine. So that's all great.
No, it's any chance that he and Mala can maybe have something if Chewie's out of the picture.
Right. Where's that smile? Oh, there it is. There's that smile. Yeah, creep. Wow.
I mean, it does seem to make sense though, because the Wookiees sound like a room full of constipated 6-month-olds.
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, he's just going, oh, come on.
Yeah.
Come on,
Yeah.
smile for the Jedi.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. You're so cute. No, he's never missed a Life Day.
Yeah. Oh no. I wonder if he used his Jedi mind tricks to make her smile. Now that you mention it.
I mean, it'd be a waste of time if he didn't, really.
Yeah. I mean, he's used to getting his way. Where's that
good point,
smile?
good point.
Smile for me. Then she does.
The other thing I'd like to know about Luke real quick is, for a farm boy that came from, working on moisture evaporators, he speaks a lot of Wookiee and droid.
Yeah, I know. Where did he pick up that Wookiee talk there?
Yeah, and he's like an elective in 9th grade on Tatooine.
Oh,
It's like, well, you could take Imperial this class, or you could take this, and he just goes all the way to the bottom, and he's like, Wookiee. I think I'm going to try that.
You brought this up, so I'm going to say it before I forget completely, but that's one of the things about the animated portion and about the thing that really I was like, huh? Because at the very beginning of the animated portion of the thing, of the special, R2D2 says something to Luke, and Luke asks C-3PO, what did he say? I'm like, since when do you not understand everything that thing says? Every beep and boop you understand completely, so why did you just ask?
Yeah, I mean, even in the first one, he's flying with them for the first time, and he's just like, no, I've got it.
Yeah,
I'm good. He's not looking at a screen or a translator or anything. He's just like, R2, I got it. They have some hella electives.
Yeah,
grade school. You know,
he learning some droid there.
Yeah, and of course, C-3PO is fluent in over 6 million languages. So it's like, how did you pick and choose Wookiee and droid?
Right. Yeah.
6 million options.
Yeah.
You think you've ever seen a Wookiee on Tatooine? No, you probably have not.
First of all, Ranty, Tatooine is a desert planet, so there's no way a Wookiee would live on a desert planet because they're covered in fur. They would have to shed all their fur, and then they'd look like one of those weird Egyptian cats without the hair. That would just be gross.
I'd like you to meet my Wookiee, Mr. Bigglesworth.
After this, it segues into a completely unfunny bit with the legendary Art Carney from The Honeymooners, who's just collecting a paycheck, I'm sure. And some Imperial wank walks into his high-tech thrift store, and the whole thing looks like it reminded me of an episode of old school Doctor Who. I'm like, I could imagine the 5th Doctor walking in here, and it would be just the same thing, I think.
Yeah. And even to go back to Chewie and Mala's place, I mean, the furniture looked very 1970s. I get that they're living in trees way up high in Kashyyyk, but maybe you shouldn't have just been like, hey, Tim, yeah, key grip. Hey, look, we need a TV entertainment center. Can you run to your house and pick yours up? Yeah. We spent all the money on Ford and Hamill. So look, we're just going to borrow it. You can eat at the elite catering table for 2 days, but just bring it in.
Yeah. Why did they borrow the set for Three's Company and put it in the Wookiee house? I don't get it.
Good point.
Darth Vader makes an appearance for 20 seconds, but it's completely recycled footage from Star Wars, you can tell, because it looks a lot better than the regular filming of the show.
Yeah. So does every Star Destroyer. That's odd.
Yeah. Wonder why that is.
Couldn't have been clip footage. No. There's no B-roll involved in this. It's an all original, high-tech production.
Yeah. Then we get back to the variety aspect, and Mala watches a cooking show on how to make bantha surprise. And it's Harvey Korman, an actor in drag for some reason. And you're wondering, well, why is this entertaining? We can't make bantha surprise because it's not a real thing that exists in this universe, the real life that we live in, the regular world. So why is this a thing we have to watch? I don't get it. It's not entertaining. It's not funny.
Well, and again, here we are with a Wookiee watching what might be a human. Hard
Possibly.
to tell. Kind of look like an ugly fembot.
Yeah.
But she's taking cooking directions, and then they say tune in next week and we'll make Wookiee cookies.
Right.
And it's like, wait a minute, if it's Wookiee food, why are you watching this person? You should be watching a Wookiee cook it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it was a very, very poor drag impersonation of Julia Childs.
Yeah, I think so. I think it was supposed to be like a Saturday Night Live skit or something, but it was not funny at all.
No. We'll find out later after this comes out that it was the inspiration for the church lady.
Right. After this, Art Carney, the trader, his name is Trader Dan, he shows up at the Wookiee house and he gives gifts to all the family. And this is probably probably the favorite part of the special for me because it's completely and totally what the fuck. Trader Dan sidles up to Itchy like a creep and gives him a virtual reality device called a mind evaporator so that he can see a wow.
Yeah.
A wow.
And just the name mind evaporator.
Uh-huh.
It doesn't sound like something I would say, "Oh, thanks," if someone handed me one.
So, in case
let's dry out your brain. Okay, let's do it.
In case you can't translate droid, Wookiee, or Randy speak, a wow is he basically gave Itchy porn because they're both old perverts apparently.
Yeah.
This is the most mind-blowing thing. I can't believe this exists. And who thought this was a great idea for a family special? And why does it belong in Star Wars? It doesn't. But it certainly happens.
Yeah, I mean, and you don't see anything resembling sexualism until Jabba's palace.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And even then it's almost like, it's almost like there was a young Harvey Weinstein on the set. And he said, "Hey, maybe you should wear that."
Yeah, that does seem completely out of place because it's not a sexualized. Even the romance between Han and Leia is very kind of PG. It's not sexual or even there's not much tension there at all. So why this is included, I don't know. So Itchy puts on the mind evaporator and immediately starts going nuts. His little his underbite's going to and fro. He's really digging what he's seeing. And it's a singer named Diane Carroll. And the first thing she says is, "Oh, yes, I can feel my creation." And it becomes like this phone sex thing until she starts singing and dancing. She says, "Oh, we are excited, aren't we? Well, just relax. Just relax. You see, I am your fantasy, your experience. So experience me. I am your pleasure. Enjoy me." This is a family special.
It's not only a family special, but either you took copious notes or you rewound way too many times.
I actually found the quote online. I wasn't gonna. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yes. I wasn't gonna.
You were absconded of all wrongdoing at this point now.
Thank you. I mean.
Yeah. Her special too. It's just very. It's just a very poorly done music video that's prefaced with a 900 call.
Exactly. That's what it is. That's exactly what it is. And I don't know. That's what Itchy gets off on, I guess. Whatever.
I mean, beads in the hair do it, I guess.
That's his thing. He's not into Wookiees for whatever reason, but
no.
Yeah. This is why George Lucas should have been more involved, because you created all these characters and they lived in your mind forever. And then this happens.
Yeah.
Don't you just feel rotten about yourself? Like all your characters have been prostituted away, and this happens. Like it couldn't have been a good feeling.
Yeah. I mean, it could have been 100% different and still used probably half of what's in there.
Yeah.
But it's poorly timed and I mean, story, plot, everything is just, where is it? Where'd it go? It's terrible. It's just fucking terrible.
It is terrible. It's surprising to me how much Harrison Ford is actually in this.
Yes. Yes, because, Hamill is, what, 2 appearances?
Yeah.
With R2 and then at the end.
Yeah, at the end, yeah.
But then again, everybody wanted to be Luke Skywalker. There was a subgroup that wanted to be Harrison Ford.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody wanted to be the star Jedi, And let's see. How'd it work out?
Yeah. So stormtroopers arrive at the Chewbacca household just as the Millennium Falcon lands on the planet, on the opposite side of the planet or something. They have to walk there.
Yeah, they go to the north side because there's no blockade.
Yeah. And while the stormtroopers search the place, they just let Lumpy do whatever he wants, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
There's a Jefferson Starship interlude for no reason, which I kind of dug. I like that song for some reason. So,
yeah, it was not as terrible as the rest of the show.
Yeah, exactly. And then after that, Lumpy watches the animated Star Wars adventure, which we mentioned before, which features the first appearance of Boba Fett. And the animation styles, what'd you think of the animation?
Given for the time, I thought it was really good.
I did too. It's kind of...
Other than 3PO's face.
Right.
It was just so disproportionate. I'm like, why is his mouth and his chin, like, down below his chin?
Yeah, the proportions were all over the place. It's kind of why I liked it. It was kind of weird.
It was definitely a goofy feel to it.
Yeah, it was weird and odd, and it kind of reminded me of like Ion Flux that was on MTV a little bit later.
Yes,
and, like The Head and those shows. It kind of had that same odd feel to it.
Yeah, and Han's long face too.
Han had an extremely long face for some reason.
Yeah, that was. I couldn't understand why. I was trying to look at it like, are they trying to do Harrison Ford or are they trying to do Mick Jagger?
Oh, you know what? He did kind of look like Mick Jagger, didn't he?
Yeah, it was. I don't know. Maybe it was the chin and like the cheekbones, and in addition to the long face, but it seriously looked more like Mick than it did Harrison Ford.
Yeah. So Boba Fett's in this. He initially befriends the guys because, I don't know, he's working for Darth Vader. He wants to get on the good side, and then he's going to murder him or something. And there's a plot involving a sleeping virus, and the only way to wake them up is to let the blood rush to their head, apparently. So
yeah,
that doesn't make sense.
No, Han strung upside down. You're just kind of like, wait, what did Chewie do to him?
Yeah. And the whole time Chewie didn't trust Boba Fett, which leads to the punchline at the very end that they all laugh at, like it was a ha-ha funny. He just didn't smell right, and they just all crack up, the whole lot of them. And that's how you end a cartoon.
Yeah. One mediocre punchline, and that's it.
Yep. Cheesy AF.
Yeah, the other thing that got me with the animation was how big Luke's eyes were.
Yeah.
These things were huge and blue. And the blue, no problem, but there's no reason for him to have saucers for eyes.
He's a wide-eyed farm boy.
And they certainly expanded upon that, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
My God.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now that I look at it even more, yeah, it's Mick Jagger.
Yeah,
it's not Harrison Ford.
That's a good call. I didn't notice that, but you're right. Yeah. The next scene, because we're continuing with awesomeness, is a recruitment video or something. It's like propaganda for Tatooine. and it takes place in the cantina with all the weird aliens that people love from the movie.
Yep.
So that you're getting a little bit of the Star Wars you wanted, but just
You got
not the
some
way.
nostalgia from 3 years before.
Yeah, just not the way you expected. It's a little bit different. Oh my God, that picture you sent me. That's perfect. Holy shit.
I mean, it seriously looks like that's Mark Hamill's headshot from when, 5 years before he did Star Wars.
Oh, that's awesome. So, yeah, the cantina scene, you got a bunch of weird aliens. They're playing the awesome music. B. Arthur is the bartender because, of course, she is. And she has a music number, which is...
Yeah. Oh, why?
Why? I mean, I think that sums up the entire experience. Is why?
Yes.
I
agree.
There's not much to say about the B. Arthur thing. I've seen this special twice, and I've fast forwarded it through that part twice.
The only thing I can say is I would want B. Arthur to be my bartender, only so I could say, "Hey, went to the bar last night. B. Arthur served me a drink."
Right.
Not that she broke out into song, not that she had some muscle that could put other aliens down for. No, just so I could say, yeah, no, she made me a rum and coke. She's really nice.
Yeah.
That's it.
And then when she handed me that rum and coke, I would say, "Thank you for being a friend." Dun-dun-dun.
And you say, "Oh, you stay golden." She looks at you. She goes, "Oh, thanks." You go, "No, I'm talking to the droid behind you."
After this, Chewie and Hans finally show up, and
About time.
Stormtrooper falls to his death, which is brutal. And Harrison Ford walks in and interacts with all those Wookiees. Good, God bless him for hugging that fur and pretending to care. Like he tries, he acts.
Yeah. Yeah, he is an actor in that scene for sure.
He is an actor.
And I'm, when that stormtrooper falls to his death, that wasn't very convincing.
Yeah,
it was just kind of like, all right, it was like when you catch the mic a little too close to the turnbuckle in a wrestling match, and it's like, all right, look, I'm going to throw you into the ropes over there and then drop an elbow. All right, you ready?
Right.
It was, and the other thing that got me was how quickly they knew one stormtrooper was missing.
Yeah.
Just one. And it's not like this was condensed for time. I mean, it's like an hour and a half, special. So they could have drawn it out and come back after a scene and said, "Oh, if you see this trooper, make sure he reports," or whatever.
Right.
No, he falls, and like 2 minutes later, like, "Trooper 41648, turn on your transponder." And, the trader is pretty quick to be like, "Oh, no, he grabbed some food and left. He's deserting." So I do have to give him props for, being a little quick on the fly there. But, I mean, I'm sure news of the Death Star blowing up took a while to get around. But one stormtrooper missing on Kashyyyk, and they're like, hey, call us.
Bonus points for saying Kashyyyk.
Well, and it's funny, too, because that and Boba, of course, became canon.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, even in one of the terrible prequel movies, we hear Yoda say, "I'll go to Kashyyyk and, fight with the Wookiees," or whatever it is.
Yeah, and he does fight with the Wookiees, and their houses look similar to the house in this, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
And because that's really that's the first reference of Chewie's home planet.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. All right. Maybe there is a little more canon than we thought, but,
and actually in Solo, they call him Chewbacca, son of Chuck or whatever, which is Itchy's full name. So Itchy is canon. Hopefully he doesn't have his underbite in the new canon, but
no, and he apparently I was reading one article, and apparently he shows up as a gunner in one of the battles. I don't remember what it is because it's really not noteworthy.
No. Huh, that's interesting though. God, now I want to see a picture. I'm going to have to Google that.
I'm already on it.
Han leaves so that the Wookiees can celebrate Life Day together as a family. And all of a sudden, the Wookiees are in red robes to celebrate Life Day, and they seem to be suddenly walking across outer space into a bright white light. Like, are they going to heaven? What is going on? What is happening? And this leads to, I don't know, talk of the promise of the tree of life, and like all these people are in robes. It looks like a cult, and there's a big singing thing going on. Oh man!
So the one thing that stood out to me right away with them in their red robes, those had to be like weighted blankets, because it literally looked like Peter Mayhew was just wearing Chewbacca's head in a robe.
Yeah, that could
like
be.
He went from being so big and wide and just this massive character to he looked like, he just got out of the shower. He's very slim in the robe, but the fur around his head, oh yeah, it's like wildly disproportionate.
Right.
It's almost like they went to Party City or something, and they're like, all right, we want to rent a Wookiee costume, but we only have $60. And they're like, all right, so here's what you can do. You can have the costume for 2 days. We'll let you keep the head for another day. And they're just like, all right, we got to figure out, put them in a red robe. Done. That's how they do Life Day.
Yeah. According to Bruce Valanche, Carrie Fisher was willing to appear under the condition that she got to sing. He said she was going through her Joni Mitchell period, and she came into the office and played a couple of very lachrymose ballads on a piano. She was singing about heartbreak and all the Joni Mitchell things. She very much wanted to show this side of her talent, and there was general dismay because this was not what we wanted Princess Leia to be doing.
Yeah.
Oh, and she does get to sing, and
She does.
her eyes are, God bless her, she's probably as stone could be because her eyes look completely glazed over. The look on her face was not natural.
No, there was definitely some chemical influence there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just was not it was not good. But hey, if she thought that was going to launch her music career after Star Wars, hey, you might as well take a shot at it.
I mean, you got to shoot your shot, as our friend Dr. Penrose would say.
Yes. Yes, you have to shoot your shot, unless it's on a Star Wars holiday special.
Yes.
Then maybe you double clutch and pass.
One of the directors of the thing, of which there were many, because it was a very troubled production, because no one knew what the hell was going on. One of the directors said that at one point, the actors confronted him when he was visiting the set. They all came up to me, and one of them said, "How did we get into this mess?" Yeah.
I'm sure that's exactly how it went.
Yep, I'm sure.
It was probably Harrison Ford coming up going, "Hey, the fuck is this?" I mean, I just did Star Wars. What the fuck do you have me doing? And they're like, "Would another extra, I don't know, 200,000 make you feel better about it?" And he's, yeah, I get with that.
Lucas said that he's sort of amused by it because it is so bizarre. It's definitely avant-garde television. It's definitely bad enough to be a classic. Well, I don't know about that. I mean, there are some bad movies that are fun to watch. They're great.
Absolutely. I mean, the guilty pleasures, isn't that what this show's really all about?
That is what this is about. And I wouldn't really call this a guilty pleasure. I would call it a curiosity that you might want to see once and then be done with it and move on with your life, because I don't find it enjoyable whatsoever.
Because it isn't.
It's not enjoyable whatsoever, no.
It just is not. I quite honestly, I was like, you say, yeah, hey, you want to do the show? And I'm like, yeah, sure. What are we going to cover? And the next thing that pops up is a link to the Star Wars holiday special. And I just went, you motherfucker. And then I erased it. And I was like, all right, yeah, I'll do that. Because, I'd seen it once before. I'll admit I did not get to the end. I think I actually made it like halfway through the animated portion.
Okay.
And either blacked out or just turned the TV off. Either way, something went full black.
It is an endurance test, so.
That it is. What, hour and 35 minutes?
It's way too long. way too long.
Is.
We'd even
And I get for the exploitation, hey, we're going to put Star Wars on and advertisers are going to line up,
yeah.
but it just was not good.
We'd even mentioned there was a infomercial in the show too that was supposed to be this hilarious comedy bit that wasn't funny whatsoever. Like there's nothing funny in this thing, and it was written by comedy writers, so that should tell you something too.
Yeah. I mean, it was so bad. It was that, the little circle with the arrow going to the right that says fast forward 15.
Right.
Yeah, that got to work out in that part.
They didn't learn their lesson, though. They didn't stay away from Christmas. In 1980, they released Christmas in the Stars, a Star Wars Christmas album, which you own,
Yes.
Ranty, which is amazing.
I own it on vinyl.
Hey.
Yeah, that was a purchase that Mrs. TRB made, and which is great to have something kind of cool like that, a little nostalgic, even though I don't own a record player, which is fine. But I shared with you, and I guess I'll fill the listeners in that that album actually has some significance to it.
It does, believe it or not. It's crazy.
Yeah, sometimes you see older stuff, or you watch the end of a movie all the way through the credits to see if maybe this is guy in the background number 3, Nicolas Cage in Fast Times, that kind of stuff you're looking for. Like, oh hey, I thought that looked like that guy, and so I'm looking at the back of the album, and don't really see anybody. I don't see John Williams. I don't see any of these big names. And then I see a name that when I read it, I pronounce it, and I go, nah, it can't be. John Bon Jovi. B-O-N, I think it's G-I-O-V-I.
Yep, his birth name.
Yes. And, nah, it can't be. It's got to be like his dad. Because his dad, I think, was in music, too. As like a producer or something along that line. Don't quote me or bother fact-checking, because it's really not that important. But, so I looked at it. That is actually the first recording that John Bon Jovi ever did was the Christmas LP for Star Wars.
On the song R2-D2, We Wish You a Merry Christmas.
Yes. I mean, I wonder if anybody has ever come up to him and said, hey, what was your least favorite thing?
Yeah. Well,
and if that were to happen to come up, you'd be like, oh, really? Oh, Star Wars? That was your least favorite thing? Okay, all right.
one of the songs on the album actually became a top 40 Christmas hit. What can you get a Wookiee for Christmas? Parentheses, when he already owns a comb, which I've never heard before, but I want to now.
Well, I will tell you right now, I will FaceTime with you when I get that record player.
Oh, that'd be awesome, yeah.
And we will enjoy it together.
Yes.
Or maybe much like this special, we'll just hang up 2 minutes in.
It actually reached the number 69 spot on the Billboard Hot 100. What can you get a Wookiee for Christmas when he already owns a comb? That's amazing to me.
Wow.
I guess that's just the power of Star Wars, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, hopefully it reached the number 69 on the charts at Christmas time. Because it would just be very awkward for that to be up on the charts in the middle of July.
This was the second, and I'm only mentioning this because I find it hilarious for some reason. This was the second Star Wars album. The first one was 1977's Star Wars and Other Galactic Funk, which was a disco album, which are disco remixes of the Star Wars themes and the Cantina Band theme, and et cetera, et cetera. Star Wars and Other Galactic Funk.
Yeah. In this day and age of remakes, I wonder if anybody would touch it.
What do you mean, Star Wars?
No. The holiday special.
Oh, I think somebody should do one. Why not? Just have.
Yeah, I mean, even if it's a fan on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm down with Jon Favreau doing one for Disney Plus. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, his track record's pretty good.
Yeah.
So I mean, you nailed the pick.
I mean, honestly, the bar was set pretty low. You could vault right over that son of a bitch real easily.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, at some point you could just have Chewbacca sitting on the toilet.
Right.
And it'd be like, well, I mean, it's better than the other one.
Yep. Also, put this on Disney Plus. Why not? Who cares?
Yes, please.
Also, release it on official Blu-ray because I guarantee people will buy it. Guaranteed.
Yeah, I mean, again, we're in a day and age now where ugly sweater parties are a thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, you should. It could be a Christmas drinking game when you get together with friends. You know, every time you just don't know what the fuck is going on, take a shot.
Yeah, you'll be trashed before you know it.
Yeah, I mean, you'll go, wait, there was an animated thing? Nope, didn't make it to that. Got rushed to the hospital for alcohol poisoning.
Sadly, this episode was recorded without the influence of alcohol, but I speak first.
On your end.
Oh, man, I knew it. I knew you were just...
Come on, hold on, let's see if I can make this... There you go, cheers.
Cheers. I knew you were pounding them. Like, I gotta get through this somehow.
I mean, how do you think I got through the special?
Exactly.
I was like, oh, Randy wants me to watch this again. All right. Hey, honey, while you're at the store, no, not a 12-pack. Case. Thank you. Yeah.
So what do you think, TRB? You think somebody should watch this ever? Do you recommend this to the folks?
I will tell you right now, I cannot recommend it as what most people would consider traditional holiday entertainment. I couldn't put this obviously over A Christmas Story or Miracle on 34th Street or National Lampoons or any of that. But again, we live in a day and age where ugly sweater parties are a thing. You know, put it on in the background. Make it a conversation piece. But if you really just need to carve out an hour and a half of your life to just stare at your television screen or your tablet or wherever you watch it on and just go, the fuck? Then yeah.
Because
I'd recommend it.
You'll be saying that a lot. That will be
Yes.
your favorite phrase for the next hour and a half that you watch this.
And the sad thing is, a lot of times, you watch a bad movie, or even if it's one of those guilty pleasures, and it usually takes a good half hour, 45 minutes for there to be a development or a plot twist or something that'll make you throw your first the fuck.
Yeah.
You'll be 5 minutes in.
Yeah, right off the bat.
And again, that might be a gross underestimation. You might be 2 minutes in and, listening to Lumpy just all through the house and go, the fuck? The fuck am I? What? Why am I watching this?
Yeah. What do I choose to do with my life? What is happening right now?
Yeah. And then they at that point they hit pause and go, Mom, is the meatloaf ready? And she yells down into the basement. But I mean, it's just not good.
Yeah. I would say, just as a curiosity, you should look it up. You can find it on YouTube.
A good copy too.
A really good copy, surprisingly. And watch the first 5 minutes just to see what you're in for, and then maybe go to the halfway point and watch the animated special. I think it's about an hour in, actually. Go there and watch that, and then the rest of it's really, you're not missing much. Maybe watch the end.
It's bantha fodder.
It is bantha fodder. Maybe just watch the end to see the total culmination of what the fuck, because that's really... it doesn't make any sense. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's happening.
I mean, I started to feel like I was at a Grateful Dead show at the end. And it's just orbs floating and then Wookiees walking into light in red robes. And I'm like, what? Huh? I mean, I get, again, we did Life Day because we wanted to make it non-denominational. We don't want to offend anyone by putting this on 13 million TVs. But I mean, yeah, you have to have some kind of payoff.
Yep.
And Wookiees walking into the light. Hey, look, that might have been a better song title than "What do you get a Wookiee for Christmas when he already has a comb?"
Yeah, Wookiees walking into the light.
Yeah. I would probably download it. Go on iTunes on Wookiee songs. Yeah, well, there's that one, and there's one about a comb. Well, obviously that second one's a Weird Al parody, so I'm going to go with Wookiees walking into the light.
Yeah. Well, until the Fast and Furious comes out with a very Fast and Furious Christmas, where Vin Diesel celebrates Familia Day, this is going to be the weirdest holiday special there ever is.
Hands down. And secondly, damn you for mentioning that, because it's probably already in the works for some
It's
reason.
got to be in the works, right?
It's
a very Diesel Christmas.
Yeah, a very furious Christmas.
A very furious Christmas. we gotta supercharge Santa's sleigh to deliver all the presents in time.
He doesn't own a speed shop anymore. He has a Christmas store called Toretto's Tinsels.
Except I did that completely wrong. I gotta talk like Vin Diesel. Family.
Salud, mi familia.
Oh, Vin, we love you. I love your bald head. Tell the folks where they can find you on the interwebs, sir.
Well, you can find me doing the podcast when we get back into it here soon with the amazing Heather D. Welcome to Rantyville. Find her on iTunes or anywhere else you get your podcasts. And if you want to follow me on the twitter.com, it's at the Ranty Bastard. I've since changed it from my first appearance on this show because all the underscores led to a bunch of from Randy and Tommy.
Right. So you can find me at mretailslave on the Twitter, or for this show, I think it's Fave Podcast or something. I should really learn that, huh? If I'm promoting. Wow.
Do you want me to look it up for you real quick?
I could probably do it. I've got a phone right near me hand here.
Fave movie at Fave Podcast.
At Fave Podcast, FAVE Podcast. Or you can follow me on Instagram. For whatever reason, the Instagram account for this podcast is, I don't know, getting all the followers. I don't get it, whatever. But you can follow me on Instagram. Just search the hashtag Miserable Retail Slave. Follow both my accounts. And you should listen to Miserable Retail Slave, which is a big dumb comedy show. We're often these days in the improv comedy charts on Apple Podcasts, which is fun and hilarious to me, but it's a fact. So go listen.
Hey, and I'm proud of you for that. I mean, 7 years, you're moving up.
Yeah, I mean, it only took damn near a decade to make a dent in anything, but whatever. That's cool.
Hey, I mean, look, I couldn't tell you how many hiatuses I've taken since the end of the retail rant. So hats off to you, sir, for keeping the good fight going.
Thank you. And we need to have you on the Miserable Retail Slave Show proper, and hopefully we can have you back for a few co-hosting gigs on here. I'll even let you pick the movie next time.
Oh, all right. Well, I'll have to do a little behind the scenes intel and find out something you don't like and make you watch it.
Perfect. If you, dear listener, have a guilty pleasure or underappreciated gem that you hold so highly in regard, I want to know about it. Email me at someone'sfavoritemoviepodcast@gmail.com. Tell me about the movie. Tell me why you love it, and we might cover it on the show. How about that? Wouldn't that be fun?
It's interactive, kids.
Hey, what a great idea. In the meantime, I'm Randy, that's TRB. We'll see you next time.